Hey everybody, I am here at the Fallsville Falls in Fallsville, Ohio, and this is my first time coming to this place, and it is super cool. It is about, we drove like an hour and a half or so from Cincinnati, so maybe about 2 hours from Amelia, where you guys are at around that area. This place is really cool. I've never been here before, and I hope I'm talking loudly enough to hear over the waterfall. So this place is a great example of something, two things. They're called weathering and erosion, and then the third thing, deposition, right? So these falls are coming up over this harder stone. I don't know exactly what type of stone it is. I want to look it up, although I think it may be a stone called dolomite. But here's what's really interesting over this way, and I'm going to be real careful because the rocks are kind of slippery, and I don't want to fall. But if I do, you'll see it, so it's okay. It's just beautiful. We went down hiking down this creek, and the falls come off here. You can see it, the different levels dropping down, and you can even see the layering of the rock behind me and everything else. And what's amazing is that the deeper you go in those layers, the older things get, the older that rock is. And I'm going to come over here to this rock over here that I do know what type it is, because of how it's weathering, and it's really neat to see it. So I'm going to walk through here through the little rush of water. Perfect. Okay. All right, here we go. So this is where I'm at. So this rock right here, this is sandstone, and what's really neat about this sandstone is it's made out of sand, so it weathers easily. So when a rock weathers, that means it breaks. Erosion is when things like water are carrying it away. And then that third word I use, deposition, is when it's left behind. So further down this creek, there are parts of it that were really sandy, and it came from sandstone that was weathered, broken, eroded, moved, and then left behind. But what's really neat about this is it has this honeycomb weathering, where this type of sandstone, when it weathers, and makes this pattern that looks like honeycombs of a beehive. And it's really neat to see that. Now in Hocking Hills, which is also in Ohio, there's a type of sandstone like this that's called black hand sandstone. Black hand sandstone. And what's the reason why that's called that is because when people were exploring Hocking Hills at one point, they discovered that there was a cave. There's a lot of caves in Hocking Hills. It's kind of like little caves over there in the waterfall. But this one had a handprint of a painting of a black hand in there that was made by one of the early Native American tribes that lived in Ohio. So that's why we call it black hand sandstone. And it's a lot quieter coming off from the waterfall area. It is really, really neat. And there's even smaller little waterfalls kind of like coming down this way. You can see that whole thing. It is also really cool to see trees like this in front of us, where this tree was growing. This is a great example of weathering and erosion, because this tree, when it was growing, was solidly in the ground, and then over a period of time, the ground washed away out from under it, and this tree just kept growing. So you can see how it's hanging on to that with its roots all gnarled inside of the rock and everything. You can see this moss here, that adds to weathering. Moss, it's pretty neat, makes like an acid with its roots, and it's not acid like what you see in a movie, but it's acid just enough to weather up the rock a little bit and allow other plants to grow in that space. So it's kind of neat. That's why you see like moss growing on rocks like that, and then over time you get other plants like these lichens here that are growing. So just an absolutely amazing place to come see if you ever get a chance. Take it easy, guys. Bye.